you have agenda?
Kevin's gonna be here, he's just running late.
No,
Oh, he's not gonna be here?
no.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
He had a couple more toes removed.
Oh, my. That's not good.
Last I heard, everything went okay.
I wish we wouldn't have done it this way, but
Yeah.
it's okay. I have done things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We are streaming.
Okay, you ready? Okay. Let's get the commissioners meeting to open up the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, let me say welcome to all of our visitors. Thank you for coming this morning. And as usual, we'll start off with Jason.
Morning.
Morning.
How's everybody on a beautiful rainy day?
Okay, thank you. So is our screens up and running? No, our screens are running.
Screens are on?
No.
His isn't, mine is.
Mine is. Okay. Here,
There's
oh,
the power button.
where,
Over this side. Nope. Right in front of your phone.
There you go.
Yep.
thank you. I didn't know, I've never seen them all.
There you go.
Okay, there we go, thank you. We have a couple road cuts. Number one is for NIPSCO, and it's 55096 6th Road, 6 Grape to Filbert. It's a bore, install a new gas line in German Township.
Motion to approve.
Second, motion been made and second to approve NIPSCO's request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next one is Brightspeed, Countryside Drive, State Road 17. It's a bore, Center Township. Looks like it's for fiber optic cable.
Motion to approve.
Second, motion made and second to approve Brightspeed's request. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Bridge-wise, we really don't have much of an update, so we'll go to the mill pond improvements. Due to the potential risk involved for future repairs to be performed, would like to enter with an on-call agreement with DLZ. I sent that for review, so if you haven't seen it or not, but I have that.
You sent us that.
Yep.
And that's just basically the on-call agreement. It's just basically the fees
Yes,
that apply.
we call.
If we, but that is that needed, correct? Okay.
And is that just one signature?
Yeah, I think it is. I've seen it this morning. I think it is. Yeah, just one.
Motion to approve the on-call agreement with DLZ with the president and the commissioners signing.
Second, motion made and seconded to approve the on-call agreement with DLZ to be used as needed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
The road work under chip seals will go back to after 7/1/24. We completed 12th Road, State Road 17 to County Line, 19B, State Road 17 to County Line, 20B, Peach to State Road 117, Peach 110 to 20B, Queen 20B to State Road 110. Due to the weather, we've been working on posting high water trees, washouts, closing roads, and cleaning up. So it's been a little slow here the last couple of weeks. The additional funding, that's what I had sent or had on the last meeting, then at council meeting. I took that to them. I just wanted to clarify a few things this morning.
We need to talk about that because there's a discrepancy here, what went to the council and what was approved by the commissioner. So I think we're all a little confused. So,
So for the simple side to this, I did have a couple corrections, and that's where it's highlighted in yellow at 59 miles and 23.5, which would make the 82.5, and that's for the estimated amount. That's still at 68,500, or 685,000 to complete our chip seal. That'd still be the 910 to complete our cold mix paving. Then in 1176 on the MVH, that was budgeted for the contractual services, our contractor service. And it kind of give a list of paint. We still had 10 miles of the Rejuve Tech to complete. The dust control, we cannot get calcium anymore, so literally we will be, for any dust control, having to spray emulsion on. And then cold patch to finish out the year. Then we had the projects that we had talked about with King Road, Lincoln Way to US 30, then Union Road, Plymouth Laporte to US 6. Vehicle maintenance, that's always kind of a touchy topic, or a touchy budgeting item for us because you really never know how much fuel or parts you're going to need when it does come down to it. At the bottom, then I went through and put the commissioners, and we still had ARP that we had mentioned. So out of that additional for the $2,462,253.48, I had the 950, which was the commissioners and the ARP. I'm still not 100% sure what we decided on the ARP. So whether we were going to use that for any of our paving or there was something else that it was going to be used for. LRS, we would take out 300,000 out of our budget to put toward that. And MVH, 270,253.48. That 270,253.48. The vehicle maintenance, I figured that in with it. And also the dust control and calcium. So that would leave a balance of the 942,000. I know at the last commissioners meeting, I had just mentioned the 500 and the 250. Literally, I was looking at that to knock out our chip seals. After thinking about it, we're in July. So to make another one, it would put us at September, possibly October, before we would get to the point of getting anything approved for road programs or anything to continue our operations. So that's literally why I went ahead and asked at the council meeting on extending those fundings. I was just kind of doing it retro, coming back then today to go over some of the numbers and why.
I think your road plan, the numbers aren't the issue. The issue is we approved $775,000, but yet the council approved $1.2 million additional, and they don't jive. And that's not going to go well with the State Board of Accounts if we don't agree on the same thing. And where I'm confused is, I know there was talk, you got the 450 from the Commissioner's line of projects. I thought that was part of it, but yet when they approved it the other night, there was 600 approved from the general fund and 600 approved from rainy day.
And ARP wasn't mentioned.
And ARP wasn't mentioned, no. And I know there's been discussions on ARP, and some of the council had mentioned, we never took it up officially in a ARP meeting, but the conversation was the last ARP meeting we had, correct me, Angie, if I'm wrong, the way I remember it, is we talked about using the 500 for Union Road, what you had suggested, because that money has to be spent by the end of the year, and then they were gonna come up with the money, 500 out of somewhere to do the sewer maintenance, like we talked about. So we wouldn't have to give that money back, because they could write the check straight to the contractor for that additional project.
Right.
But none of that's been approved, so if that's the direction we want to go, I have to call an ARP meeting and get that officially approved before we can move forward. But commissioners got to determine if that's what they want to do first. And I think there's what, 500, lower 500,000 in the ARP remaining.
Yeah, I think it was
Five
like
to 10,
550 maybe,
Huh?
550
Is it
maybe.
that much?
I don't
Okay.
know the exact
It's
number.
lower
but-
5, I don't remember what the number
Yeah.
was. So are you comfortable for the time being? Just go back and remend our motion from 775 to 1.2?
I am fine with that.
And then we can discuss the ARP money. What do
And
we
then
wanna
you
do?
can have our committee meeting to discuss the ARP funding
Okay.
for
So I
the
need-
500,000.
Well, I think what the intention was to do whatever that amount is to
Right.
do. I thought it was like 515, but maybe it's 550. I don't know.
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I don't either. I just know it's a little over 500,000.
But, so we need the motion to be amended to reflect the 1.212, 253.
1.2 million.
Yeah,
1.2 million. Basically, it was what they approved, 1.2 million the other night.
so moved.
You make the motion?
Yes.
I'll second it. Motion been made and seconded to approve our motion from last meeting from 775 to $1.2 million for highway funding. And I think the intention was to take 600,000 out of rainy day and 600,000 out of general, correct, Angie? And that was the council's discussion tonight, so based on that, motion been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, as far as the others, the ARP, do you want to know the exact amount before we do it, or just say not to exceed
Before
500?
we go, Angie's that going to clear things up with State Board of Accounts in your office?
Yes, that will clear it up. I just need to make sure I document the difference between the two boards, what was originally requested
Yes.
at the commissioners,
Yeah.
what was requested at the council. Now that the commissioners have gone and everything's on the same page for that part of it.
Yep.
And then if you want to have an ARP meeting, we can schedule something to, if that's something the commissioners and the council are looking to do.
I guess my question is, are you okay with whatever that, up to 550?
Yes.
ARP, whatever that, so.
Whatever the
that
balance is, up
Yes.
to that.
I'll second that motion. Motion been made and second to approve sending a request to the ARP committee to look at funding for the highway department of the balance of the ARP money not to exceed $550,000, because we're not quite sure what that amount is. You good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Motion been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I'll get our ARP meeting scheduled.
So then on that, you're basically saying there'll be two lines created out of each fund, or one out of each fund then for the additional? Is that kind of how? There'll be 500,000 or 600,000 out of general, then 600,000 out of rainy day set up?
Yeah, we're going to have to discuss how rainy day, that might have to be a resolution by the council to move it. Because rainy day is not normally a budgeted fund, because that's for emergency kind of issues, so you don't usually budget out of there, but that's something that we're going to have to discuss. And then we'll have to have those paperwork we're going to have to prepare and have it signed, which I think at this point we'll have signed. The 600,000 out of the general, I think to keep it consistent, should go with the commissioners, and the 450,000 that was already there. And then we'll have council president and commissioner president sign for the rainy day.
Okay. I just know we can't commingle funds, right? Okay. Thank you. That helped clear that up a little bit, I hope.
For everybody.
Yeah. Outside of that, just then for the EECBG grant, we do have a training for that, part 2 on the 18th from 1 to 3. So if you find out some information on that as far as having that done too. I think that's all I got.
I think, Jason, correct me, with the 1.2, if you get the 500,000 out of ARP and the 450 out of your projects, you're almost at your total dollar amount to finish your road plan this year, correct?
Yes.
That gives you a 2.1?
Yes.
Roughly that, 2.15? But you say it was 2.2 or 2.3? I don't remember exactly.
I think originally it was 2.6, I think was everything.
Yeah, I don't remember what it
combined.
was. Anyhow, you're close.
Very.
Okay, okay. Got anything for her, Jason?
How we doing on, we still looking at flooding anywhere?
Yes, we still have some flooding going on.
Yeah.
I did not bring the updated list, I think the.
No, that's okay. I just,
Posted.
general, so the public knows that there is still high water and with expected rain late tonight and tomorrow.
And the big thing is the people that are traveling definitely have to watch for flash flooding that come up.
Yeah.
Trees that are in the roadways,
And if those trees are on power lines, we do not touch
we do
them.
not touch.
Yeah,
We close the road until the utility has them cut out and give us the okay to do one of two things, push it off the road so they can have access to get up and down the road.
Yep.
Or they cut it out, put it up, then we come in and take care of it.
gotcha. Thank you.
Unfortunately, the river didn't go as high as they originally forecast.
Yeah,
I think it was 14.1 or 14.2 they were forecasting and only got to 13 according to Jack.
But I think they're still calling for rain over the next potential 3 days.
yep.
Yeah,
You know, it's gotta be bad if Swan Lake was closed and everybody was going to Prairie Lake to golf.
Swan Lake's closed again today.
Are they closed again today?
Yeah, I just found out on my way here. Shucks.
okay, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Dale, Blanche. Come on up, have a seat. Please state your name and address for the record.
Dale Blanche, 17585 Michigan Road,
Thank you.
Argus.
It's, I think, are you here about the right-of-way we talked about a year ago?
Yes.
I come out there, okay, go ahead and
Well,
tell
anyway,
your story.
nothing's been done about it.
Oh.
And I guess my concern is that there's several other Mennonites that live on between 110 and Argus. And if Mr. Raymer gets away with moving his fence out there, the rest of them will follow and move their fence out on the county right-of-way. I did go talk to Rochester Telephone Company. They have a fiber optic cable that's inside his fence, so they do not have access to that other than cutting the fence and getting in there. Sprint has a phone line in there too, but they do not have access. And I'm just afraid that if he gets away with it, everybody else, it's been there for 3 years, so.
That fence has been there a couple of years, if I remember right.
Yep.
And Jim, I guess we'll need your help. I talked to Mr. Raymer. I was out there a couple of times, I think twice. I think I was out there a year and a half ago. And where he's talking about to the south, where this Raymer gentleman lives, the fence is out a little bit, appears to be in the right of way. Couple feet, wait, a couple feet, does that sound about
Oh,
right?
no, it's farther than that.
Okay, I don't remember now, but it's out in
Oh,
the right
it's
of way.
probably 20 feet out in the right of way. It's only about a few feet off the edge of the road.
Okay, I don't remember being out that far, but okay. But anyhow, it's an area, I talked to Jason about it. We felt if we moved it back, it was someplace he was gonna have trouble mowing. And that's kind of why nothing was done. So technically, what he's saying, I believe he is correct. The gentleman's fence is in the right of way. But if Jason was concerned by making him move that fence, it was gonna create us another problem trying to maintain that right of way. He has livestock out there. So legally, where are we at?
We need to get Craig Coltis, Craig involved with a survey.
Well, but I guess that you're number one, you're asking, are we for sure, do we know where the right-of-way line is?
Exactly.
And I think that's obviously an important thing. I know it might be a problem for Jason if we require the fence to be moved back and maintained, but we've got to maintain our right-of-ways.
Yeah.
Unless you're wanting to just abandon it or forego it, and if you do, you got problems now with some communication utility companies who apparently have lines in our right-of-way that are now being difficult for that situation. So I think we should definitely for sure establish where the right-of-way line is, and then my recommendation is ask the gentleman to move the fence to that right-of-way line.
Right.
Okay.
And Jason will just have to figure out after that how to maintain that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't seen it, I have no idea what the problem in
Well, I could have been
maintenance
out
would
there,
be.
there's, I don't remember it being as far as Dale says, but it is out there. There's not much doubt in my mind it's in the right of way.
Yeah,
I just
you
can't
must
tell
be
you
an
how far.
adjacent owner out there somewhere, is that,
What's that?
are you an adjacent owner to the?
Well, I have property on Michigan Road, yes.
Okay. Well,
He lives to the north, at least where we met.
okay. Yeah, I don't know what the problem is for maintaining the right-of-way along Michigan Road. We do that everywhere else, for crying out loud.
Jason? Can you come up and explain this to us, please? Or help clarify?
The biggest problem on that right away, right there by his place, is it's a very, very steep bank. Over the years, it's always just been skipped as far as mowing. By him putting that out there, it has helped us due to the fact it keeps everything down. And I have to agree with Stan on that. That's literally why there wasn't a whole lot said. I did stop and talk to the gentleman. He is fully aware that the utilities probably run through there. If they needed to get into the utilities, he was perfectly fine with allowing them to get in to do it. So, yes, hindsight, it is out infringing on the right-of-way, and he's probably right. It is 15 plus or minus feet. There's still enough room to get a vehicle off the side of the road. It's not up on the top of the bank, it's still down on the bank, so even if a car did pull completely over, it wouldn't pull clear over to where the fence is, because they would be on the steep side of the bank. So, there is a few different,
Well,
but
so
literally, yes.
should we put all that in writing somehow so that we,
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, if there should be an agreement between Mr. Raymer and the county, and maybe have the Rochester and Sprint involved in signing some sort of a agreement that says, should there become an accident or something that we need access, it's not gonna be at our cost, just like we do with the drainage tile.
And I think he would be okay with that, too.
and maybe if we have that, that would solve your concern that there's gonna be others that are gonna try to.
At least we would have some
Send it in the right of
documentation,
way.
yeah, with Mr. Raymer.
You follow me? It would be a permissive use of the right-of-way, I guess, is what I'm saying, and then make it difficult for other landowners to just encroach. They'd have to get permission as well, and if, under other circumstances, it's not likely that we would give that permission.
Well, he owns property on the east side too,
Yeah.
and there's 2 gas lines that run through there. And
Is he
they
covering
do
those up
not
too?
call 811 when they put stuff up like that. How he missed not cutting the fiber optic cable when he put the fence up, I have no idea, because it wasn't.
Is he
marked.
encroaching on both sides of Michigan Road?
He owns property on both sides of 31.
He is not on the east
Not
side.
encroaching
No,
on
there's
the
no
east.
fence here.
Okay.
I still think we should get a legal description of the right-of-way so we can put it in writing and have Mr. Raymer and the county sign.
My question, Jim, is, are we setting a precedence for the other neighbors
Well,
to come out in the right of way? I guess that's his question, and
yeah, well, that.
I understand what
That's
he's
why I say is
concerned about.
if you're gonna grant the encroachment, are you setting a precedent? Well, yeah, I mean, you're setting an precedent that in certain circumstances, you're gonna grant encroachments on the right of way. I'm not saying that's the best thing to do, but I'm just saying,
Well, I have 2 farms on Michigan Road. I can move my fence line up, gain probably 2 or 3 acres of ground, 8, 9,
Yeah, I mean, that you don't-
$10,000 an acre.
you wouldn't-
That would be a pretty good
Yeah,
chunk of
and
money.
normally you wouldn't approve that encroachment under those, I mean,
I guess my question is, how do we deny the other neighbors when we've approved this one? I guess that's my question, is setting a precedent.
well, and you're doing it on a case-by-case basis. I guess you're trying to make a case that's special exception, but you're right. If you, if you do it,
It sounds like to me you're opening a whole can of worms.
you are.
Yeah, that's what I'm concerned about,
And Michigan Road is our responsibility? It's not state?
not anymore.
Not anymore.
And I do think he would put it back. I mean, with not a lot of question about it.
What do you
Well,
mean,
the
put it back?
state
I think he
highway
would move
markers
his
are
fence
still
back.
there.
Okay.
The cement state markers are
That's why I
still
was asking
there.
that question, Dale. Thank you.
And of course, everybody knows Michigan's an extremely wide right-of-way too.
Yeah.
I think we almost need to, what if we establish a right-of-way, then look at it, how far it is? and
Right.
I think we probably need to have him move it back, so we don't open that can of worms. But we first need to establish a right-of-way,
That's the best thing.
so we'll know how far that fence has to go back.
Yep.
Would that suit you right now, Dale?
That's fine.
We'll get the right-of-way established, and then we'll look at
Right
how
away,
far that
and-
fence has to go,
And get him to move the fence.
and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay,
Okay, thank you
Thank you.
much. If you don't hear from us in a month or so, give me a call.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
John?
Morning.
Morning.
I handed out to you guys earlier the revised version of the FabCon contract. And this reflects the windows and the doors being caulked. So it raised the price to 101,363.
Which is the same price we thought it was going to come in at, but now it's in writing.
Now it's in writing on, so I should point out that we should rescind the 55,000 from the other day. So this is the only contract then.
And we need to specify this in our motion as maintenance.
Yes. And so Jim, is it proper to have two separate motions? One to rescind the original contract of 55,000?
I think you can make one motion to accept the revised contract, basically incorporating the previous approval and.
Null and void.
And, yeah, as being not necessary, and this is the new, replacement contract.
Are you okay with that, Angie? Okay.
I make that motion to accept the revised contract for maintenance on the jail from Fabcom in the amount of $101,363.
Second. Motion made and second to accept a revised contract from Fabcom, which the new dollar amount for the extra services will be, a maintenance will be $101,363. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. And just for the record, he took me on a tour the other morning, and boy, water was running down the walls, out of the windows.
That's, so, just so everybody understands, this doesn't really fix the windows over
No.
the 911 in the front lobby. So, in talking about that, probably the easiest solution to that is just, because the windows aren't being used anymore for anything, just metal over them.
Yes.
So I would like to ask you guys if I can take proposals for that,
Yes.
Yes,
and we'll get a dollar amount on that at least.
agreed.
Okay. The next thing is,
Just before you leave that, I did advise DLZ and JPR that we were
I
not
saw
going
those
to
letters.
require their services, and we're going to
Yep.
do our self-help.
Yep, thank you.
the next thing would be RTU number 6. We have that scheduled to replace next year. So I probably should be asking for proposals now because it's 25 weeks to get the unit.
Yep.
This is the expensive one.
And that's the one over the
Sheriff's.
operations?
Yeah, the sheriff's department
Yep,
does the whole sheriff's department.
yep,
It's in the range of 200,000.
yeah.
So, but I think we need to start now and get proposals, and
Agreed.
so we're ready next spring.
And I think the sheriff does have that in his budget already.
Right.
Yes, he put it in his budget for next year.
Yep.
So can you get a proposal in time? Do we have to reapprove that? If it's in his budget this year, will it stay for next year?
No, it's for next year's budget.
Oh, it's for next year's budget?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
he's
sorry.
already,
It takes 25 weeks to,
Okay.
yeah, he
I
put
thought
that
you-
in.
I thought you had it in this year's budget.
no, he's got it in next year's budget.
Okay, good.
So, the other thing we probably need to talk about is the front sidewalk, the public sidewalk. We've,
at the jail.
at the
Yeah.
jail, we've had another person fall, and we've had a person before fall on that sidewalk, and we did level it with the concrete leveling where they pump underneath of it, and it doesn't stay because I don't believe it has rebar in it. So the individual blocks move up and down as much as, well, Stan saw it the other day, there's as much of difference of maybe an inch. So it is a hazard, and, you know, does that need to be done this year? I guess that's up to you guys, but,
Yes.
yeah, one lawsuit is way more than.
Yeah.
So I have had a gentleman bid on it that did the sidewalks over here at the courthouse. He does an excellent job. I don't have that bid today because he's Amish and he sends his bid by the mail, so it's in the mail, but it was 28.3 was the bid. 23.8, sorry, didn't want to scare you. 23.8, but until I get it in writing,
Yep,
so.
but
what do you-
agree. It needs to be taken care of.
Okay,
Well, they've caulked between the blocks, and it's just stretching the caulking
Yeah, exactly.
when it moves.
yeah, it's moving, and again, if it had rebar in it, I don't think it would be doing that, but
I think the new quote has rebar in it,
it
correct?
definitely does have rebar in it, and he's, just so everybody's clear, the first block up by the door looks like it was poured differently than the rest of the sidewalk. So he's gonna bore in to that block, leave it because the doors are setting on it, and rebar into the concrete so it doesn't move that either. But there's a big expansion joint there that was added, so when the original building was built, so I don't see a problem with that if we tie into it, drill into it and tie into it with the rebar, so. And what they'll also gain us is we don't have to shut the lobby down, so the public has access all the time to the building.
So you comfortable moving forward to having bring it to us next
Yes.
meeting? Get the quote and bring it to us and
Okay.
Yep,
tell him more than likely we're interested in doing this.
Okay,
Need to get it done, if we can get it done before the end of the year,
Yeah.
before winter hits.
yeah, okay,
Okay, thank you, John.
yep.
Attorney's report.
Attorney's report. Okay, took care of jail repairs. At the last meeting, you approved ordinance 2024-17 on first reading. That ordinance follows Marshall County procedures and practices, sets in writing under the executive authority required for contracts and the procedure for approval. Not sure if you wanted to take that matter.
and that came to us via the state.
Yeah.
It basically matches the new code provisions the General Assembly adopted at the last General Assembly, yes.
Yes. I would like to make a motion to approve on second and third reading ordinance 2024-17.
Can we suspend the rules without Kevin being here for second and third reading?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll second that motion. Motion made second to suspend the rules on ordinance 2024-17 and approve it on both second and third readings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
it was unanimously approved on first reading.
was.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Recall, he was even ready to do it, that you,
Yep.
right, which I thought was a good idea. so-
Yeah, yeah. No, I just want to make sure.
Yep. Holding Corporation annual meeting scheduled for this morning at 11:30 here in the Commissioners' Room. Just to follow up on the Bowen Center building at 900 Illinois Street, Plymouth. John Landing is going to is engaged to do that, and as I understand it, that's being arranged, so that's,
He'll be here this week.
so yeah, so that's good news. I normally don't report on liability cases that have been referred to our liability insurance carrier, but, well, unless it looks like something's going to happen that may get into the county's pocketbook. And so I've got some updates on this Roy Reynolds versus Marshall County. As you know, this was a situation last summer where there was a thunderstorm, and either lightning or wind or whatever brought down a big tree limb over North Michigan Street at the same time that Mr. Reynolds was driving his car under there. A lot of times, these are kind of acts of God, immunity provisions that keep the county out of liability situations. But we have a situation where the firm representing the plaintiff, in my opinion, has taken a number of cases to try and to pull back this immunity that's granted local governments, and this is apparently one of those kinds of cases. So an inspection of the tree is scheduled at the end of the month to see if the tree was diseased or something, I guess. And the point of all this is that if this kind of a situation is modified with the law, there could be some enormous financial exposure to the county. I just listed a couple of special inspection of trees along county roads. Can you imagine if we had to take trees down over every county road or limbs or
Just
whatever?
go down Nutmeg.
Oh my gosh, so anyway, I'm just bringing that to your attention, and I wanted to let you know that we contacted David Bodorf's office down at the Indiana Association of Counties to kind of alert him to the case. You know, not that we want them to be involved or anything, but if that case would happen to go different than what we hope or succeed on, we may want to elicit some statewide assistance for that kind of thing.
Well, and how do you determine, and I'm sure you've already thought of this, but how do you determine after this amount of time, was it diseased prior to or now? Do we have NCIS
You have
tree?
to ask a tree expert, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, I just am bringing that up to you, it's nothing we gotta, the damages are gonna be within our it's not so, the case itself's not gonna cost the county any money, it's just the ramifications if the law would happen to change. So I bring that to your attention, just so you have it. And then one other thing for your information, under new business, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, reached out to all of the counties in the state concerning the adoption by the General Assembly of the law that prohibits certain foreign persons or businesses from acquiring or leasing Indiana agricultural land. There's a listing of some of those folks, but it's China, Iran, North Korea, kind of the listing of all the folks that you would normally suspect. And so the AG office has requested that if county officials suspect any kind of violation of that new code, that we notify his office, because he's been charged with the authority of enforcing that new provision. So
Great.
He's also filed a couple lawsuits too over.
Pardon me?
He's also filed a couple lawsuits or taken action of some sorts over sanctuary city policies, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Type.
filed against Monroe County, and he filed against
Gary Hammond, somewhere up there.
somewhere in the region.
Yeah, northwest corner of the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a different statute. but-
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that ends my attorney report, Mr. President.
You have anything else for Jim?
No, I do not.
Okay, and we'll move on. Thank you for your report. We'll move on to the county auditor report.
I have your July 1st minutes.
Motion to approve?
Second, motion been made and seconded to approve the July 1st minutes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I have your accounts payable claims.
Motion to approve?
Second, motion made and seconded to approve the accounts payable claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And I have payroll claims.
Motion to approve?
Second. Motion been made and second to approve the payroll claims. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we come to
I have
public
one-
comment.
I have one last thing, just a reminder, this Friday at 9 a.m., DLGF Commissioner
I
Dan
forgot about that.
Shackle
Yeah.
will be here. There should have been an email, all the elected officials within the county for every unit should have received an email invitation, but that will be held in this room this Friday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Again, the DLGF Commissioner Dan Shackle will be here.
Okay, thank you. Public comments. Anyone have any public comments? Jesse? I assume you're coming up.
Good morning.
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 Both same thing, or
Yeah.
okay. Please state your names.
Jesse Bohannon, President, Marshall County Council, 511 Cavalier Drive in Culver.
Nicole Cox, Marshall County Councilwoman, and I'm 4111 Olive Road, Plymouth.
Go ahead.
Just here for informational purposes for you guys to make you aware of a developing situation. I know, Stan, you were at the council meeting on Thursday and you heard our discussion of the planning department's budget. I believe sometime in June, the planning department ran out of money on several of their line items, and they were instructed by the council to approve or to receive prior authorization before they continued to incur expenses in certain categories. A system was set up to document, how they would receive approval for that, and several times they were given approval for additional expenditures coming out of a line item that we had set up specifically for them within the council budget. What was the date of our meeting was June 13th, and so they were instructed by the council at that point to not incur any additional expenses without prior authorization. It appears that since June 13th, they have incurred over $900 in unauthorized legal expenses, one of which was specifically denied. An amount of $540 was denied prior to it being incurred, and they went ahead and incurred it anyway. Following some debate by the council last Thursday, I asked our attorney, Mr. Levin, to contact Derek Jones and to make sure that he was aware that they did not have authorization to continue to incur expenses for legal without prior authorization. Mr. Jones informed Mr. Levin that he had been aware that they were not authorized to do that, and that they had been aware of it on June 14th. And so that for the last month, they have been intentionally overrunning their budget. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but I did want to make sure that you guys were aware of it, and that I feel like Mr. Jones and the leadership of the planning department is putting the county in a very bad position right now. So,
They're setting a precedent for other department heads as well.
yeah. So if departments are able to be, it's one thing when you've got a standard, when business is just running ahead and there's, been precedent previously that the council is going to get you an additional appropriation, that you don't bring things to a screeching halt, but they've been informed that they're not going to get money without prior authorization, and they're incurring additional bills anyway. Yeah.
I maybe should talk to you about this privately, but, the Plan Commission is a separate statutory
Right, and I'm
established commission, and it includes the right to have legal counsel at its choosing.
Right.
You say you instructed the Plan Commission. Did you contact Dave Hostetler or any of the Plan Commission people? And what was their response to that? Did you contact Derek Jones ahead of that? I don't know that really, and I talked about this before, that the council is in the appropriate stead to tell a separate statutory established commission that they cannot have an attorney, even though the state says that they can have an attorney.
They were given 100% of their budget that they requested.
Okay, but what you're doing is by cutting off the attorney
We're not
fees
cutting off
given
anything.
on their budget.
They spent their
You're
budget.
not allowing them to have an attorney present for meetings that they are required to conduct.
And actually, that's not the case. We have,
Yes, it is.
we
That's
have,
exactly what's happening. That's exactly what you're doing.
That
You're
is
cutting
not-
off their legal representation on meetings that they're required to have.
are you speaking on behalf of the commissioners right now, Mr.
No,
Clevenger?
I'm speaking I'm in response to yours, and that's why I said I should have brought it up. I'm not speaking on behalf of the county commissioners.
Okay.
I'm talking about, from a county perspective, this is a separate body. It's not like the highway department, it's not like the other departments. It's
Mr.
a-
Klotz.
It's an established body.
I'm not asking Mr. Clevenger's opinion here. I'm here to address you guys.
Okay, and I'm giving you my opinion as the county attorney.
I think we need to have a conversation in
And we
private
can do it
about that.
privately. It would be just like you're telling them that they can't hire me. It would be just like them trying to tell you they can't hire Mr. Levin.
So we have granted additional appropriations for everything that is urgent and necessary. The work that they're engaging in developing additional ordinances is something that can absolutely be done next year. And I told Mr. Adley that if he wanted to submit that for his budget for next year, this would be completely appropriate.
Putting Mr. Adley in an impossible position.
We need to have a conversation another time because you're involved as well.
So I just want to make sure that you guys were aware of this, and that the council is not going to, again, I don't speak for the entire council at this point, but I get the sense that the council is not going to just sit back and allow departments to spend beyond their budget, and to put the county in a position where we're obligated after we've said that we're not going to incur additional expenses. So, yeah, that's all I've got.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Commissioner items, I guess we only got one. We've taken care of the second reading, so we have a conflict of interest. Do you need to say anything about that, or it's basically our highway superintendent has filed a conflict of interest we need to accept
Yes, this is kind of hand in hand with the nepotism.
for the nepotism
That was
statement
already
file?
approved at the last meeting, so that's all the conflict of interest just kind of goes with that.
I think when I questioned about, and then he sent a letter about the nepotism, they said we didn't need a conflict of statement, then somebody else looked at it, come back and said, yeah, now you do, so it'd be on the safe side, so we just went ahead and did it.
Okay, so okay, that explains why
Yeah.
it's back up for conversation.
Yes, because originally they said no, and then somebody else come back and said, yeah, you probably all go ahead and do it, so just to be on the safe side, we're gonna do
You
it.
know, a more conservative route to go, so to say.
Okay.
Right.
I'll make a motion to accept the conflict of interest.
Second, motion made and seconded, conflict of interest for our highway superintendent. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. You have anything else?
I do not.
I don't have anything else, so
Motion to adjourn?
second, motion made and seconded, adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.